జయనిలో ప్రేమ ధన కరుణ ప్రచుర్
జయనిలో ప్రేమ ధన కరుణ
జయనిలో ప్రేమ ధన కరుణ ప్రచుర్
జయనిలో ప్రేమ ధన కరుణ
हे प्रभु कोथा गेला आचार्य ठाकुर
हे प्रभु कुता चला आचार्य ठाकुर
हेनो प्रभु कोथा गेला आचार्य ठाकुर
हे प्रभु कोथा चला आचार्य ठाकुर
कहा मोरा स्वरूप रूपा कहा सनातन
मोरा स्वरूप कहा
कहाँ दास रघुनाथ पतित पावन
कहा दस रघुनाथ पतित पावन
मोरा भट्ट जुगा कहाँ कबीराज
कहा मोरा भटा जुगा कहा
एक काले कोथा गेला गोरा नटराज
एका कला कोता गोरा नटराज
सने कुटी भो माथा अनिले पसी गो
बसने कुटी भाता अनले बसी
औरंगा गुनेरा निधि कोथा गेले पाबो
गौरंगा गुनेर कोथा गेले पाबो
सब संगीरा संगे जई किलो बिला
सब संगीत संगे जे कोई सॉरी स्वामी जे कोई लो बिना
हे संगाना पाया कंदे नरोत्तम
से संगान पाए
हे संगा पाया कंदे नरोत्तम
से संगान प्रायेकाने नरतो
जय नीलो प्रेम धना करुणा प्रचुर. Can repeat the last one also.
से संगान प्रिया कंदे नरोत्तम
नीलो प्रेम धना करुणा प्रचुर.
प्रेमाधना करुणा प्रचुर.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर. नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर.
नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर जय नरोत्तम ठाकुर.
हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय. नरोत्तम ठाकुर की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. You seems to be like a classical singer. Very nicely you have contributed. I couldn't match with you, but thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
You know, sir. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Swami.
Thank you, Mataji. So very
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
You are a classical singer, Mataji. You do.
Yes, sir. Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, what Hindustani, Carnatic?
Yeah, Carnatic.
Oh, very. Thank you, Mataji. I will take some classes from you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Okay. So once again, thank you all for joining. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Okay, so we have seen that in the previous classes that Arjuna's reason for not wishing to fight, there are 4 reasons. One is that compassion that why should I really kill my grandfather, my guru, and my cousins and all this. So that was one compassion, a bodily compassion. The second one was enjoyment. So if I kill them, so all will be gone. So where is that I am going to enjoy the kingdom? So another thing is that if I lose, then also there is no enjoyment for me. So in both ways, you are seeing that there is no enjoyment. Whether I win or lose, there is no enjoyment. So the next thing is that the destruction of family traditions he was talking about, where Varna Shankara can happen because men are all killed. So that is what women get polluted and all these things. And saintliness and fear of sinful reactions. He was also thinking that whatever he is doing is not correct. And for that reason, he is thinking that he will be getting sinful reactions will be coming to him. So this is what he has been thinking, and this is what are his reasons for not to fight. Now, what Krishna is going to do now is that he is going to take each and everything, whatever it has the reason, and he is going to counter it. So that is where we are going to see today. So the content of the Gita summarized, if we see that we have seen that earlier, Arjuna was bewildered. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he took the right decision of accepting Krishna as his guru. So that one thing he did it correctly. And Lord Krishna chastised Arjuna and disapproved his so-called compassion. So that's one thing. And Arjuna further, he had some doubts and still confusion still prevailed. So he was asking so many questions. And in the 4th verse to 6th verse, we have seen that he was asking certain questions. And later on, finally, in the 7th to 9th verses, we see that Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, and then Krishna really speaks. So Krishna starts to speak in the 2.11 verse. And the way he started to give this knowledge to bring Arjuna out of the lamentation, whatever he is going through, is that initially give them certain immediate course corrections. Like if you see, suppose somebody is totally depressed, you cannot give him a higher philosophy immediately. So what Krishna did it is that he started giving philosophy, not high philosophy, but a philosophy where he can bring Arjuna out of the lamentation, because he is in such a down state where he is leaving his Gandiva also, which he would never do in his lifetime. So since he was in that state, Krishna started giving this whatever philosophy, not a higher philosophy, but lesser philosophy, where he can bring Arjuna out of this lamentation. And then once he is up and accepted him, then he will give higher philosophy. Right now, what Krishna is done is that he started giving the knowledge about his what is his real identity. The analysis of the body and soul, the matter and spirit, is what he has given, Krishna has given. And he has mentioned that don't lament unnecessarily. All individuals exist eternally, and changing their bodies is natural. So if in your home also, if somebody dies or something happened, it is natural that it happens. So no, this body which we are having is temporary, and we have to leave this body one day. And that is what Krishna has initially told. And he also mentioned that to tolerate the dualities, equanimity is eligibility for liberation. He also mentions that you need to be equanimity, it should be maintained. And Krishna is going to elaborate on all these topics at later point of time, but initially he wanted to give this knowledge. And the soul never dies, and the body is perishable. Changing bodies is similar to changing clothes, he said. So once these clothes are worn out, then I take a new garments. Similarly, so once this body is worn out, then I'll take another body. So, but the qualities of the eternal soul is what he has elaborated. The Nainam Chindanti Shastrani and all that things, whatever he mentioned, he has described about the soul. And basically this comes under the Gnana or Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya is basically, the word Sankhya means analysis. So that is what he mentioned. So here it's a, suppose the one analogy that Srila Prabhupada gives is that suppose your relative or say your wife has taken a BMW car and she meets with an accident in the car. Immediately the call comes to you. So what is your first priority to ask and to do? Will you go and find out what happened to my BMW car or what happened to your wife, right? Obviously, you will be, it's a BMW car, probably like 70-80 lakhs, but still you will be considered to take care and find out what happened to your relative or to your wife or to your any other person, right? So you are giving importance to the person within that car. So similarly, what here Krishna is saying to Arjuna is that give importance to the soul, not to this body. Most of the time we are giving importance to this body only. So that is where Krishna is going to elaborate more on that, the subject matter. So going further on that, so in the previous, so in final conclusion, what Krishna makes is that the soul that dwells in this body can never be killed, and he tells to Arjuna that therefore you need not lament for this any of these living beings. So far Krishna explained the science of soul, Atma Jnana, to induce Arjuna to fight. So the whole point is that to make Arjuna to stand up, because right now he is lamenting, he is depressed. You can put these words, whatever. So he is depressed. So he wanted Arjuna to come out of that depression. So that is the reason why he spoke all this. And to produce steadiness in this knowledge, now Krishna speaks lesser principles that promise material benefits by performing actions with personal desires. Now, Krishna, as I mentioned to you, he is not taking you to a higher platform, higher philosophy immediately. So what he is going to give next is that he is going to speak lesser principles that promise material benefits by performing certain actions with personal desire. And this he calls it as sakama karma. Sakama karma. Kama means sa means with, kama means desire. So with the desire you are performing certain actions, so that is called sakama karma. In the following section Krishna elaborates on 2.2, which he said that avoidance of prescribed duty leads not to higher planets but to infamy. So he is going to talk about the prescribed duties. What are your prescribed duties that you have to do and you cannot get rid of it? If not, you will get, you are not really doing your duty. So that is what we are going to discuss more in detail. So before we go there, let's quickly understand what is dharma as per the Vedic teachings. Anybody can tell what is dharma as per you, as per your current understanding? Anybody can unmute and then speak.
Fulfilling our duties and responsibilities properly.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else, please? One or two more devotees.
Our duties.
Our duties, if you fulfill, you will you call it as dharma. Okay. One last.
Live as per the Vedas, that is dharma.
Okay, but that is what? What is that live as per the Vedas? Vedas, there are so many. So which Veda you are talking about? Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. That's correct. Repeat one more time. Cyclone, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please repeat one more time.
Dharma is what our responsibility, what we need to do.
Oh, okay. So, what is actually dharma? Let us see that. See, here Krishna is going to talk about. Yeah. You want to say something, Subramaniam Prabhu?
Yes, our duties to soul and body. These are the two things.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Thank you, Subramaniam Prabhu. Fantastic. Thank you, thank you. That is what we are going to elaborate. What you said is correct.
Prabhuji, doing a duty towards the, like for example, a lady takes the role of a mother, a wife, a daughter. If you're working like I was working as a teacher, the roles are different in every place. So the duty towards those considered to be your dharma.
Okay. But again, Krishna is going to tell you that this is part of that. So it is not completely what you need to do, but that also he considered as one of your dharma. So we'll see that. What is that Krishna is going to tell us to do? Thank you, Mataji. Thank you everyone for participating. So dharma loosely translates as duty, because there is no equivalent word in English for dharma. Some people say that dharma is religion, which is absolutely wrong. So dharma and religion are not the same. So dharma loosely translates to duty, but in a deeper sense refers to intrinsic characteristic and qualities of something that cannot be avoided, neglected, or negated under any circumstances. So that is the classical definition for dharma. So dharma, once again, it's an intrinsic characteristic and the qualities of something that cannot be avoided, neglected, or negated under any circumstances. That is called dharma. Okay. So now let us take a very simple analogy what Srila Prabhupada used to give. What is the dharma of fire? What is the dharma of fire?
Heat.
Light and heat.
To burn.
It should give you heat, it should give you light, and that is the dharma of, or it can burn also, right? Heat, light and burn. So this is the dharma of the fire. So this is the intrinsic quality of something which cannot be negated, cannot be avoided, and cannot be neglected also. So that is the dharma of the fire. What is the dharma of the sugar? Srila Prabhupada says that
Sweetness.
sweetness. What is the dharma of water?
Quench our thirst.
Yeah, quench our thirst. Very obvious this thing. So what now? The question. Yes, Rajita Mataji, you are saying something.
Yeah, help in cultivation also, sir, along with quenching the thirst, because that in turn gives us food to eat and survive.
Yes. So, but basically, the dharma of water is that when you drink, it should quench your thirst. That is this. Yeah, other things are also there. Now, the point is that what is the dharma of these human beings? Is $1 million question. What is my dharma? See, anything that you see has got a dharma. Fire has got a dharma. Water has got a dharma. What is the dharma of the human beings? Yeah, Megha Shukla Mataji says that service is the what else could be the dharma of human beings?
Servitor to the Lord.
Okay, service to the Lord. Okay. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Raghunath,
Yeah.
you are saying
Yeah,
something.
Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji. Basically, two dharma. One is for Swadharma, which we call for self, and another is another is our Sanatan Dharma.
Fantastic. Okay, so you give the answer. That's really good. So what Krishna is going to elaborate is that first of all, understand before we take there, as per our Vedanta Sutras, Atato Brahma Jignasa. So having a Jignasa is the first qualification to call, that is your basic foundation dharma. Okay, but that means if you are not having this Jignasa, Atato Brahma Jignasa is not there, that means you do not get qualified into the human category also. See, understand this. Atato Brahma Jignasa, that means you should at least inquire. Inquire what? Why am I suffering here? Why I should be dying? Why is that there is old age? Why there is janma, murtyu, jara, vyadhi? Why all these calamities are up? See, this kind of questioning, at least if you have, that is what it qualifies that you are in the first stage of human evolution. If you are not having that also, then you are not having the qualification or the dharma that you should be for doing, or that's the qualification. Now, Krishna takes this discussion to the next level, where he says that one should execute two dharmas side by side. And what are those two dharmas? Many individuals neglect the Sanatan Dharma and becoming too preoccupied with Swadharma. And what is this Swadharma? What is Sanatan Dharma? We will see that, and we will get into the details. Okay. Any questions anybody has before we, because this subject matter, what we are going to discuss, you need to get the foundational questions addressed. I may not be able to talk big philosophies, but at least the foundation part, if you are able to understand, that would be nice. And if you have any question, please stop me anywhere, because I'm going to analyze the subject in a deeper way based on your inquisitiveness and your query. So that is the reason why. Please do ask any questions. Anybody has any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Premlata Mata.
Just one doubt.
Yes, Mata.
In the 22nd shloka, Krishna says that Vasamsi Jirnani, that shloka. In that, as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones. Okay. Then the same person is putting new ones, isn't it? But for the soul is going back. There is no body. Without body, where is the soul? The body will contaminate it if we put it 2 or 3 days. So the soul is going any other body, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
If both are, how it is saying, Prabhuji, that is
Body is only dress. The body is only dress.
the dress is changing.
Yeah, the body itself is the old dress. And the
Subramanian,
new.
can I help to answer that, if you don't mind?
Okay.
So, Mataji, the point what we need to understand here is that when we came into this material world, we didn't have any, material body. We as an individual are having 3 bodies. We know that. The subtle body, the gross body, and the spirit soul, or the spiritual body. These are the 3 bodies which we have.
Okay.
Now, when we leave this gross body, we will go with our subtle body and with your spiritual body to another body. So that is how you get. And how is this mechanism of how does it happen? It happens based on your karma. So the kind of things that you did, that will determine, and also the kind of desires that you have, because there is a karana sharira also, the 4th sharira. So based on that karma, karana sharira, that is karana sharira is also based on the kind of desires that you have. So the subtle body and the spiritual, what you actually are, the soul enters into another body. That could be a buffalo or an ox or a human or whatever. So that is based on the karma. So that is how it takes. And once this body is no more required, and as per your karma, how many years you need to be there, it is pre-decided. So you will be staying there for that much time. You may enjoy, you may suffer, but it as per your karma, you will enjoy and suffer. And finally, you will go to another. So, but again, this enjoyment, suffering, and all these things is happening for so many lifetimes. And how do I come out of this? Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi is the first question one intelligent person should have. That is what we are saying, that this is Atato Brahma Jignasa. So this Jignasa should come. If not, what is the difference between human beings and animals? There is no difference. The animals are also interested only in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And we are also only interested in then what? Okay, we'll take it further, Mataji, at later point of time.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So now if you see here, the prescribed duties as per Vedas, what is it? And what is, see, what I am trying to do is that whatever terms you are going to get, what is karma, what is akarma, what is vikarma, And these words I will clarify. So you will get the clarity to read Bhagavad Gita nicely. Okay. So what are prescribed duties? And basically, who, as nicely Prabhuji has mentioned, that prescribed duties are coming from Vedas, right? So in what are the Vedas? Vedas, we have 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. Now, in Vedas, there are codes of working directions, like prescribed duties. And these prescribed duties are based on your Varna and Ashrama. We know that there are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. So, a Kshatriya has got a certain duties to do as per the prescribed duties as per the Vedas. And similarly, a Brahmana, a Vaishya, and a Shudra. Similarly, from a Ashrama perspective, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, they also got some prescribed duties. So, whichever these prescribed duties are based on the Vedas, and if you are doing that accordingly, so you are doing what you are doing is, you call it as karma, and we will talk about akarma later. So basically, that is qualified to be called as karma. Okay. And what is vikarma? Because you will also come across this word called vikarma. Vikarma is basically activities which you are doing which are not as per the Vedic injunctions, or what is there in the prescribed duties. You are not doing as per that, but you are doing it in your own way. Like suppose having extramarital affairs, or getting engaged with somebody before you are getting married. So this is vikarma. Getting pregnancy with living together kind of business, this is all vikarma, because this is not as per the prescribed duties. This is not as per the Vedic injunctions. So these are all vikarmas. And what will happen to these kind of people who are doing vikarma? They are living for sense gratification. Life is of vain. That means it's of no use. What will they get in the next life? They will get bodies which are lower animal bodies. They will, because they have done vikarma. And all these whatever activities which we are doing has got a karmic bank balance you get accumulated with. So if you are doing vikarma, so that means you will get the karma associated with that, and you will get animal life, or if you take human life also, you will be in the lower planets, not in this Bhuloka. Some other we know that we have seen last week, there are other lokas also where you are human being only, but the people out there are man-eaters, and that kind of environment you will go. Okay, it is not to frighten you, but it is there in our Padma Purana, in other Garuda Purana and other places where it is elaborately discussed what happens when you do this kind of activities, where will you go, etc., etc. Now, coming to the regulated activities are prescribed for gradual elevation to spiritual life. Now, why we should follow these prescribed duties? Because when you follow these prescribed duties, obviously we are all conditioned soul in this material nature. We are all eager for material enjoyment. So you can enjoy this material whatever is there, but again, if you do it as per the prescribed duties, then slowly but gradually you will get elevated. So that is the reason why it is recommended that you have to follow the prescribed duties. Vedic directions are so made that one can satisfy one's perverted desires. They might see. So we are calling it as perverted desires because actually your desire should be something else. But again, you have certain desires related to your sense enjoyment or your bodily gratification, but that's also fine. And for gradually to elevate yourself, do it in a prescribed way. So suppose I'm just giving, because all of you are matured enough to get, suppose you wanted to have having sexual relationship with opposite sex. So then you get married and lawfully you take care of your needs. So that is how it is given in your prescribed duties, right? So now gradually what will happen is that when you do this karma, and your prescribed duties, and slowly when you get elevated to a next level called akarma. Akarma is, that is what we're going to discuss. Akarma is what activities when you do, you don't get any reactions to that. That is called akarma. And when you do akarma, all your karmic bank balance, whatever is got accumulated in the past, that gets wiped out, and then you will get the eligibility to go back to Goloka. Go back to, so that is what it is. Okay. And who gave these Vedas? Vedas have come from none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So that is what is there. That is the reason why the Vedas are also called Apaurushaha. So any questions so far? Anybody, please let me know. So you can stop me anytime. Please don't hesitate. Okay. So we'll discuss about the two duties today. Two duties, that is material and spiritual duties that we have, Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. And on what basis we are going to discuss, we will see. Okay. So basically, the material and spiritual duty, there are two duties. One is Swadharma. Can somebody tell me what is your initial thoughts about Swadharma? What is Swadharma as per you? And what is Sanatana Dharma?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mata.
Swadharma is about earning money, growing in professional life. Sanatana Dharma is progress in spirituality.
Very good. And as per you, Mataji, basically professional life means, why are you doing it?
For money, Mataji, money, Prabhuji, to live. For food, shelter.
To take care of what?
Body.
Very nice. Thank you. That's the conclusion. So we have certain duties that we need to perform because we have taken this material body. You cannot deny that. So some people may go into a denial mode. They are saying that I don't want to do any duties related to this body because this body is not permanent. So never Krishna has recommended saying that don't take care of your material duties. Krishna said that to Arjuna also that you need to take care of both the duties properly, because these prescribed duties which are coming from the Vedas are giving you to take care of your material duties. Okay, primarily prescribed duties based on your Varna and Ashrama. See, Varna and Ashrama is basically with related to your body. So that duties you need to do, definitely that you need to take care. And you should also take care of your spiritual duties. And can somebody tell me what is the spiritual duty means?
ABCD, Prabhuji, like association with the devotee, reading books, chanting.
Okay, that's well said. But in general, what is spiritual duties means? Yes, that is also correct. But anybody else can add more to that?
Prabhuji, Parthiban here.
Please.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Spiritual duties is nothing but doing our seva, sadhana, and swadhyaya to serve the God. Yeah.
Very nice. So basically, actually, spiritual duties are anything that you do to identify yourself with the spirit soul. Like Srila Prabhupada gives one example. We know that classical example where there was a very rich lady. She brought one parrot, and that's a talking parrot, very special parrot. So what she did is that she made a golden cage for that particular parrot, and she was very much enjoying the way the parrot was speaking, etc., etc. And every day she used to come, and this golden cage was decorated with diamonds, rubies, and so many things. And every day she used to come, that rich lady, and she used to clean very nicely that cage. And slowly, what happened is that she noticed that the parrot which is inside stopped speaking. And after a week, 10 days, the parrot died. What might be the reason? I'm asking a very simple, silly question, but still just wanted to take your reactions. Why did that bird die?
Did not
Oh.
take care of the parrot.
Did not
By
take care
giving
of.
food and
So
what the-
basically, she forgot or she neglected or she did not think that there is food that is required for the parrot. Because she thought that, yeah, this parrot is there in a nice cage, golden cage, diamonds, this, that. So similarly, what we are also doing, most of the people are doing is that we are giving food only to this body. We are not giving food to the soul. So the food for the soul is what? The food for the soul is sadhana, swadhyay and seva, as Prabhu has nicely mentioned. So these three things you need to give. If you are not giving daily, slowly as the parrot has died, not died in the sense we will be there, but still we will be spiritually dead. Because we are not identifying with our spirit soul, because you are not giving any food to this spirit. So every day when you give your, when you do Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that is sadhana, when you read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam Shastras, Swadhyay, and you do service to whom? Service to the Supreme Lord. Whatever activity which you are doing, see in our Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Savai Pumso Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Adokshaje Ahituki Aprihata Yayatma Suprasidati. The supreme occupation dharma of all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated, uninterrupted, to completely satisfy the self. So the service that we are talking about should be in that mood. And that mood, what kind of a mood is that? So basically you are doing with unmotivated. You do not have any personal desire there. And uninterrupted. Not that I did it today and I forget it forever, or after 6 months I think about it. It should be uninterrupted. And that will really completely satisfy your self. Self meaning your soul. So that is what is the seva that you need to do. And we are not yet there. So obviously we are not yet there. But again, that is what is the pure devotional service. And we need to overcome these material modes. That is what Krishna is going to speak about more in detail. How do we, where we need to go? We need to go to Suddha Sattva. So overcoming the material modes. Yeah. Any questions so far? So basically in our life, what we need to do is we need to balance the spiritual duties and material duties. Both is like a what do you say, a train track is there. So both are parallelly need to be taken care, not to neglect one for the other or for any of this. So both should be done, and that's what Krishna is recommending. Most of the time people say that hey, once you come into ISKCON or take up to Krishna consciousness, you will leave your family, you will get divorced, and you will become a brahmachari, or you will just not take care of your household duties. That is all wrong. So you will be taking care of your household duties much more better, because you have proper understanding, and you lead a quality life and a life which has a meaningful life, because you know what is the purpose of your life. You have to balance these two activities or these two duties. Material duties are called Swadharma and spiritual duties are called Sanatana Dharma. So that is what it is. There are types of karmas that Krishna talks about. One is Sakama karma that we touched about. From 31 verse to 37th verse, he speaks about this Sakama karma. Sakama. What does Sakama means? Anybody? Sa means what?
Desire. I mean, without desire.
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Okay.
Sa is with Prabhuji.
Okay. Sa kama. Kama means desire. Sa means with. So with the desire you are doing that karma, it becomes sakama karma. You have your personal desire, selfish desire also you can say, or you wanted to gratify your senses and wanted to do that. That becomes sakama karma. So the second one is called Buddhi Yoga or Nishkama Karma Yoga. Okay. Why it is called yoga and that is just called Sakama Karma? Can anybody say that? Why that is just Sakama Karma? Here it is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. Any thoughts?
Guruji, it is not so easy.
Yeah, Sharada
Karma
Mataji,
yoga.
go ahead.
It is not so
Prabhuji.
easy to Nishkar, like be without desires when we do work. So it is a sadhana. That is why it is called yoga. It comes under practice.
Okay, yoga means practice in one way. Okay.
Sadhana. I mean here in
Lord Prabhuji.
Okay. One last any Mataji Prabhuji, Aishwarya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yoga means connecting, Nishkama Karma.
Connecting what?
Connecting
Activity to Lord.
Yes. So here, this is where Krishna is bringing the second part. Second, you are also doing your activities, but you are connecting somehow to the Supreme Lord. And that becomes Nishkama Karma Yoga. In sometimes in Bhagavad Gita also, when you are talking about Karma Yoga, you are talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Please understand, because when you read Bhagavad Gita, you may get confused sometimes. When you say Sakama Karma, you are just doing with your desire. This is also called Karma Kanda. So Karma Kanda is also more or less what Sakama Karma is. Basically, see Karma Kandas. Why do you do some pujas, vratas and all this? Because that is also coming under, that is also based on our Vedas only. These are all coming from the Vedas only. But again, since you had certain desires that you wanted to fulfill, and for that Krishna has given you option. Okay, since you have this desire, but do it as per the prescribed duties, what is given in the Vedas. Don't do it as a vikarma. So don't do it whimsically. Do it as per the Vedas which is given and then do it. So that is what. Now, performing prescribed duties gives enjoyment. Whose enjoyment? Our own enjoyment. That is the difference. Whatever karma I am doing, I am having a desire to self-enjoy. And that is the reason you are going to take up that kind of activities. Mataji said, I wanted to go to my office. Why am I going to my office? Because I get money and salary, and with that I can buy these things and enjoy, go to outing, this, that. It's all for your personal enjoyment. And you see, it's nothing wrong, but this comes under the category of Sakama Karma. So the detached work without reactions, that is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. So I know this is the very loaded words that I'm using, but slowly we will understand this, whatever we are trying to put it across. So detached work without reactions. Okay. Now, in this particular first segment, Sakama Karma, so prescribed, performing prescribed duties, which gives self-enjoyment, that is what will be discussed. And from the 31 and 32 verse, doing prescribed duties of fighting open doors for heaven. That's what Krishna is saying, that do your duties. No, because Arjuna had one query. And what was that query? No enjoyment. When I lose the battle, also no enjoyment. When I win the battle, also no enjoyment, because I'm killing everyone, my relatives, etc. So what will I do with this kingdom when I am killing everybody? It is a tainted, the blood is tainted and I am getting this kingdom. So to answer that, Krishna said, do your prescribed duties of fighting. And why did he say prescribed duties of fighting? Why did he say to Arjuna?
He was Kshatriya.
And it is based on what? It's based on
his
Varnashram.
It is based on your varna and ashrama. First thing what he said is because you can enjoy. So that enjoyment is already there. But do it based on your varna and ashrama. He told to, because you are a Kshatriya, you have to have a kingdom. And you have to, what Kshatriya means? Kshatriya, the word Kshatriya means Kshatriya. So one who gives protection is called Kshatriya. and that is his duty to give protection to the people, and to get rid of bad people and give protection to his praja. That is his duty. So he's supposed to do that. That is part of your prescribed duties only. And based on that, once you get your kingdom, you will enjoy the material opulence. And if you lose the battle and you die also, then you will go to heavens. Why? Because you did it as per the prescribed duties, and your life is gone, but still you will be enjoying in the heaven because you performed your prescribed duties. That's what he's saying. And by avoiding fight, you will incur sin, infamy, and criticism. He's saying that if you avoid the fight and just leave, you will then you will incur sin. Not that as per his version, Arjuna's version, he was saying that I will incur sinful reactions will come if I go and kill these people. No, if you do not do your prescribed duties, you will incur sin. That's what Krishna is saying. And you will also be criticized by by Karna and Duryodhana. They will not say that, hey, this person has left the battlefield because of compassion, because he doesn't want to kill. They will say that you are Napunsakat, and you will say that infamy, and they will criticize you. And when they tell you that, again you are a Kshatriya by nature, so you cannot tolerate. Again you will pick up the weapon and fight. So unnecessarily, why you are confusing? Do your prescribed duties. So end of the day, what Krishna says is that do your sakama karma, do your prescribed duties, because in both ways, when you win the war, when you become victorious, you will enjoy the kingdom. If you lose or get defeated, you will go to the heavens. Both ways it is win-win for you, not lose-lose for you. Earlier he said, Arjuna thought that it is lose-lose, but Krishna converted him, saying that it is win-win for you, do your prescribed duties. So what's the takeaway for us in this? How is that it is going to apply in our life? This doing the sakama karma or prescribed duties. How does it apply in our life? Yeah, these questions you should ask because we are doing at a next level Bhagavad Gita discussion.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Can I tell, Prabhuji?
Please.
Yeah, actually, the takeaway here is like we should do our day-to-day duties without any attachment and with the engagement. Okay. So that is the main takeaway.
So first of all, as you said very nicely, Prabhu. So first of all, understand that you are in which ashrama and in which varna. Okay. So basically, and your ashrama and varna are also driven through your modes of nature. Okay. So, and based on that, you are acting. So now, based on the prescribed duties, what is prescribed? So suppose I am a grahastha. I have to earn money and feed my family. So if I am not doing that, that means I am not taking care of my prescribed duties. As simple as that. Now suppose there are some Matajis who will say that I am going and working outside. Why should I cook? My husband also can cook and other things. No, this is a little controversial kind of question that I am trying to raise. But point what I am saying is that certain things Matajis can do better or women can do better. So suppose actually, suppose a woman nowadays they are also given opportunity to go and serve in as a army or air force or navy, or women also given. But actually women are by nature, they are supposed to, or by prescribed duties also, they are supposed to take care of the home first, or the priority should be given to home. Not that I become a soldier outside. See, obviously women, their physical body is not meant to do that kind of a work where you can fight with the guns and do all that. So because it is the Supreme Lord has not created you to do those kind of activities. So find out what is your prescribed duty, and when you do it, then you will be at your comfort level. Now, why the women are suffering a lot? Because our educational system has brought to a brainwash them, saying that women and men are equal. And now some Matajis may really protest when what I'm saying. Obviously, yes. But now point is that women and men are not equal, but our education system is treating them as equal, and they are given they are tuned to do this competitive kind of a mindset they are building. Actually, for none of the men's also, in the education system, competitive mindset is not correct. But again, our education system is Macaulay's education system, which has spoiled everything. And now the same nature, because of this competitive nature, when the girl gets married and to his, in the home, there is a competition. Why I should do this? Why you should not do this? Why only you should earn? I can also go and earn. So why should I take care of kids? This, that. So many things are coming because we don't know what we need to do and what we are not supposed to do. So I'm not trying to bias you with my opinions. The point what I'm saying is that ask yourself very genuine question. What are the prescribed duties that I'm actually supposed to take care, and do that, and you will be comfortable within your family and with yourself also. Again, please forgive me. I do not want to bring in some gender discrimination here. The point is that as per our prescribed duties, as per our Vedas, women have a certain role to perform and men have a certain role to perform. Any questions, anybody quickly you wanted to ask? I know I am taking a little bit of risk of putting it across again. Yeah, anybody has any question? No? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Prabhuji, as we are talking about Dharma, it was said that Dharma, like in every yuga, the Dharma changes, the concept of Dharma changes.
Okay.
So according to you, what is meant by Dharma in Kali Yuga? Like there are many Shrutis, Manusruti. So I want to know what is the Dharma according to Kali Yuga.
Okay, Mataji, first of all, we need to understand and qualify what you said. Dharma, what you are saying, changes every yuga. No. Can you tell me on what basis you said that?
Like I have heard that every yuga the Dharma changes. Like in some yuga, it was said that women should have a certain priorities, and in other, like I have read in some books that Dharma changes from yuga to yuga, and this Smritis, Manusruti, this Smritis, no?
Oh, no, Mataji. So that's not correct. So as far as I'm concerned, let me clarify, Mataji. Then you can counter question me.
Okay.
So basically, Dharma, whatever we are talking about, is applicable not just for this yuga, for any yuga that for that matter, it should be the same. Okay. Yuga Dharma, with respect to what we need to do, can change with respect to how we can approach the Supreme Lord for our for easily getting liberated. For in Kali Yuga, they say that the Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan. From that perspective, it has changed. But when with respect to the prescribed duties, nothing has changed, because prescribed duties are coming from Vedas, and Vedas are eternal, not based on the yugas. What is a Satya, Dwapar, Treta, and Kali? It doesn't change. So Yuga Dharma, with respect to how you can approach the Supreme Lord, the preference will be given such that we can easily approach and do our spiritual activities. And for that matter, and Manusmriti and all these things are what are we talking about? Manu. Manu is the person who has when the first person who was born, when Brahma created this universe, that time Manusmriti has come. Manusmriti is not from this yuga, Kali Yuga, the Dwapar Yuga, Treta or Satya. It is these cycles of whatever we are talking about or so many cycles have passed, and before that also Manusmriti was there. And he is the father of mankind. Yes. So Mataji, just to clarify, yuga, though yugas are changing, yuga prescribed duties as per Manu Shastra also never change. That is eternally there in the sense when Brahma created this, then from that time it is there, and this is also part of Vedas only. And Vedas are coming from the Supreme Lord. That means Manusmriti is also coming. Yes.
You are saying that there is nothing changes according to yuga. It is dharma which we have to follow every time in every yuga.
There are two things what I am talking about. One is prescribed duties which are coming from Vedas. Okay. And at the same time, see, from Vedas only, see, in the previous one, what I have just told you here, see, the code of working direction prescribed duties for akarma or doing your sakama karma, both are coming and you are according to the Vedas only. And Bhagavad Gita is part of the Vedas. And Panchama Veda is Mahabharata, and in Mahabharata we have this Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita is called Gita-Upanishad. It's the essence of all Vedas in one way. So we are also following. So your prescribed duties as well as your Sanatana Dharma or whatever duties you need to do for your spiritual duties, material duties, both are coming from Vedas only. And that's what I'm saying here. Is that clear, Mataji, or still you have some doubt?
No, Prabhuji, I'm so clear. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so don't hesitate to ask Mataji, because we need to get this clarity. If not, we cannot proceed to understand and appreciate Bhagavad Gita, because our preliminary course is over. I am not rushing up to the subject just to complete. Please clarify your doubts. Yeah, Rajita Mataji, go ahead, please.
Prabhuji, okay, there are some prescribed duties as per Vedas for women. But my question is, like, we have taken this body in this life, either based on the karmas that we have already performed in the previous lives. That's what I understand. I don't know if I'm putting my question right or not. There's something that is troubling me.
Yeah.
So now in this life, I am performing the duties of a mother, of a wife, as well as I'm doing the duty of teaching students. Like, I have taken into profession as well, not just being at home and only taking care of family. I'm also taking care of kids. Now, am I deviating from the prescribed duties for a woman?
Okay, so all three, whatever you are doing for the material body, and so you are taking care of the way you are supposed to take care, and you are doing the right thing, no doubt. As a mother, wife, and you are also going and teaching few people. Yeah, that's also correct. Yes. Now, so the contradiction comes. Only thing is that when you say that why you should be the breadwinner to your husband and say that I will become the breadwinner, that is not correct. As per, see, you can help in that process of making money and taking care of the family to some extent, that is okay. Though now you cannot actually, to be very frank, women should be more as a supportive role. Please forgive me for this. See, why in our marriage ceremony, why is that a woman's age is when compared to the husband's age should be considered to be less? Why is that they take care? Why is this jatakam that they have, why they see that? Whether their kundali is matching, this matching, that matching, all this, because you have to coexist, and you have to coexist in such a way that you will be more of a supporting role. Now, supporting role, some people may say that this supporting role is a subordinate role. No, it is not a subordinate role. It is a role that, see, now I'll give you an example which may not be right example, but we'll try to relate. Now, suppose you wanted to eat food, and my hand is helping me to eat food, and your stomach is getting. and only the stomach is getting all the food. Then one person may say that, why am I using my hand? Why am I using my mouth? All this. So finally, the stomach is only getting benefited. Now when other organs do a strike and say that we will not feed the stomach unnecessarily because we are all just doing the work, why I should really give feeding the stomach? So and eventually you see that the hand becomes weak, your mouth, you are not able to speak because you are not getting food. But once you give food to the stomach, it gets dissipated and it gives energy to all parts of your body. So women and husband, and in fact for that matter, as a family we coexist. So you have a role to perform. It is not a higher role or a subordinate role. If you have to do some work, see, when Krishna went for a war, he also taken Satyabhama also once. And so it is not a discriminatory kind of a thing. It is basically your role is based on the time, place and circumstances you have to act. But you should coexist in a family, not that. So I think I made my point. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now I'm clear. So it's basically you do your duties without, trying to supersede the rest of the family members by throwing your weight.
No, I wanted to bring one subtle point here. Because of our education system, we are saying that women or men are equal, so I am getting equal education. That is where the flaw lies. Women actually, no, this is not very practical being in this modern society. But what I'm trying to say is that the same mindset, the same competitive mindset. I competed with the boys in the co-education system, and now I'm competing with my husband in my home. That's where the problem comes. Now, if you take, because naturally, when you have been asked to get married to somebody, your parents have seen certain things and they have matched such that you can coexist in that family, and you generally are supposed to take a subordinate role. Subordinate doesn't mean that you are down position and somebody is high position, because to coexist you have to have that kind of a framework wherein a husband is, see, in the Bible also it is mentioned that a head of the family, husband, should be treated like a king. Well, what does that mean? Treated like a king means, so because the king, his responsibility is that not same as the queen. But at the same time, queen's role is not what we are bringing it down. But what we are saying is that king role is to go and fight in the sense, go and do the breadwinning part. So if you can help for him to do that duty properly, that means you are doing your duty properly. And that is what is prescribed duty. Please understand that there is this little bit of subtleness that I am bringing in. If you understand, then you can make your family a happy family, and you will really enjoy being in that role as a woman or a husband or something else. This is not male domination, is not what we are talking about. It is basic. See, what did these Westerners really get out of this women's liberation? Well, women's emancipation they did. And they said equal rights to men and women. What has happened to them? You know what? Women are utilized like commodities in West. Unfortunately, sometimes when I think about it, but tears flow in my eyes. What kind of a situation they are in? I was in US for 6 years. I've seen some many times that in a evening restaurant, the so-called dating, the girl gets an appointment in the website, and that boy comes, and that boy is giving a a jug of a bottle of wine or a beer, and now she doesn't pay, the boy pays because that's a formality. And what happens, you know, that they go together, stay that night, and what is that they are doing? See, unfortunately, that is the trend that is happening in India also, because we have not understood what is motherhood, properly, what is womanhood properly, and we landed in all this chaotic situation wherein we are and that's what we are made ourselves. Now, just to cut short everything, point what we are trying to say is that each and every person has got a prescribed duties. As a grihastha, as a grihani, as a male, as a female, you have certain prescribed duties. So maybe we can do one seminar on grihastha seminar, and we can go into the details if somebody wants. Usually we do it for 2 days, grihastha seminar. We can discuss more into that as per Shastra. Again, it is not based on my interpretation and things like that. Based on Shastra, grihastha seminar we will discuss about it. Can we go ahead, Prabhuji's Matajis? Okay. Any doubts here?
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
one
Go
word.
ahead, Mataji.
Prabhuji, is it that the syllabus for the woman and man is different only? Suppose I am taking the BIPC subject and I top the BIPC and I want to join IIT, I can't. So the prescribed duty of woman is different than the prescribed duty of man, and that should be very clear-cutly mentioned. Though it is being empowered, and you said equal gender equality and all those things that what Westerners have given us. This clarity, if we have, then the life of Grihastha will become very normal, because our syllabus is only different, and that depends on all our physical or mental status and everything. So that gender is only different, the syllabus is only different. If we try to go on equating and want our equality and equity talks, that is not very right, and we go on into this women's education and liberation movement.
Yes, that's
I just
correct,
wanted
Mataji.
to.
As per our Vedas, as per our Shastras, women has got a specific role to play, specific duties to perform, primary duties. And sometimes based on time, place, circumstances, there can be changes, but primarily duties are what is given there. And I am not extra what do you say, expert in that, but yes, to some extent we can do that seminar and we can get more into the details. But as of now, as you mentioned, Mataji, women have got a certain role to play, and they have got a certain prescribed duties, primary duties, so that we should able to do it. Then there will be balance in the home. There will be tranquility. There will be peace, because you are doing your duties, your dharma properly. If you are not doing your prescribed duties properly, see, I'll tell you what. This may look little odd. In ISKCON, most of the time temple presidents are men only, and in the West and in one of the place, there was a little bit of revolt that came. Why only men should be president of the temples? Why not women? And one Mataji was given opportunity to become a temple president. So point what I'm trying to say is that when it happened, it so happened that she had to give divorce to her husband also, because once you take up certain roles, you get into certain activities wherein it is not comfortable for you, and you neglect your primary duties. So that may happen. I'm not saying that everything is black and white, but it is based on your discrimination, based on time, place, and circumstances. Things should be decided. So let's not go into the details more. So that might lead into some other direction. I hope I made my point clear. So if there is anything more, we can discuss later. Okay, so two types of karmas. One is sakama karma, and the other is nishkama karma. Here, sakama karma is basically performing prescribed duties, which is based on your desire and for your sense enjoyment, you are doing it. And here nishkama karma, the orientation is different. Here you are detached work without reactions. So first of all, it is detached work. That means you are not expecting the results for your enjoyment. So that way it is detached work. Okay. And no fruitive mentality. So fruitive mentality meaning you are not expecting the results that you wanted to enjoy. It is a detachment is there. And without any reactions, reactions meaning here, whenever you do certain actions, you will get a positive reaction or a negative reaction. We have seen that in the previous classes. Because if you do certain good activities, you will get the pious credit. If you do bad activities, you will get impious credit. So for both, you have to come back to this material world and reap that benefit. So is there any way out to come out of this material entanglement, not to come back to this material world? That is what is Nishkama Karma Yoga or Akarma. So there is no much difference between Buddhi Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga or Akarma. Akarma is also the same. So hope that point is clear. These are the words that you come across. Don't get confused. It is more or less all of them are the same. And whenever you said yoga, that means to say you are connecting to the Supreme Lord. That is what is yoga. It comes from a root word called yuj. Yuj means to connect. And to connect what? To the Supreme Lord. You may get or you might be getting connected to doing karma. It becomes karma yoga. If you are doing with jnana, it becomes jnana yoga. If you are doing with bhakti, it becomes bhakti yoga. So basically you are connecting with the Supreme Lord, and there is a hierarchy of this yoga ladder that we discussed. We'll discuss that in more detail at later point of time. Any doubts before we move on? I think I'll take 2 or 5 more minutes and we'll conclude today and continue tomorrow. So Sakama Karma. Aishwarya Mataji, you have some question?
Yeah, in second chapter, Krishna calls Arjuna Kshudram just because of he was avoiding his Kshatriya duty. Because of that only he is calling Shudra, Prabhuji?
But no, he never said, I don't know exactly.
Shudram Hrudaya Daurabalyam.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. In context, he is saying that he did not say that you are from Varna perspective, you are Shudra. So, Shudra, see, you are, so basically he has scolded Arjuna in so many ways. So, he also said that you are Napunsakar in one way. He also said that you are Akirti Arjuna. Akirti means you are a black spot in your family. Akirti, that means your mother side. Sometimes he called us takes his father's name. Oh Bharata, he says. Bhartar Shaba. Or he says Kunti Putra. So because his mother is a very elevated person. His father or his ancestral coming from Bharata's dynasty. So in one way he is saying that whatever you are doing, it doesn't befit you. Because coming from that kind of a background, what are you doing? So that is what. So how does it apply to us? Basically it applies to us in a way that you have got such a wonderful opportunity. So you are not utilizing. So if you ask yourself, you have come and taken this human form, which is very rare, 84 lakh species, out of which one human form. You never know when again you'll get back to the human form or not. But there is a possibility that you'll get a human form based on your actions that you are going to do. So point what we are trying to drive is that Arjuna scolding, Krishna scolding Arjuna is applicable that Krishna is scolding you, saying that you have this nice material body. You have got a wonderful opportunity to go back to Goloka and take care of your prescribed duties as well as your spiritual duties. But you are not taking care. So that scolding is not for Arjuna. Put yourself in Arjuna's position whenever you are reading Bhagavad Gita. You will get to know why Krishna is speaking like this. Okay, Mataji, Aishwarya Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
So in Sakama Karma, basically performing prescribed duties gives enjoyment. In the first 31 to 32 slokas, doing prescribed duties of fighting opens doors for heaven. That's what he says. Okay, 33 to 36, by avoiding fight, you will incur sin, infamy and criticism from others. That is what he is going to tell. And it is benefit of fight kingdom in victory and heaven in defeat. In both ways, it is win-win. So see, all this he is saying to do what? Basically, to do what? Why is he saying all this?
To fight.
Just to fight, because now he is sitting down, he is not, because he is in depression. All of us are in one way in that kind of a mood. So first at least do your prescribed duties now. So before you go and do your sanatana or your spiritual duties, don't neglect your prescribed duties. That is also the basis for you to next to go and do your spiritual duties properly. But don't get bogged up in prescribed duties or material duties only. Do it parallelly, but don't just go into one and neglect the other one. So that is not correct. So you have to do both of them. And but here, to elevate the consciousness and bring Arjuna to a platform where he can stand and then fight, he is giving all this. And this is all what we also need to do, right? So if you are doing your job, you have to do it in a nice way, not just giving up your work for anything. Okay, we will discuss this sloka once and then we'll probably end for today. Swadharmam api chavekshya na vikampitum arhasi dharma dharmyaya dadhi yuddha shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate swadharma api chavekshya na vikampitum arhasi dharmayadhi yuddha shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. So considering your specific duty as a kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. So there is no need for hesitation. So ask yourself in this context, what is your prescribed duties based on your varna and ashrama, and then do your duties. If you have any doubt what is my prescribed duties, you can take help of the Shastra. And for that matter, you can take care of some senior Matajis. If you want, you can talk to them, and Prabhujis can talk to senior Prabhujis and find out what is best. So in our life also, we need some personal guidance is always required, because we don't know for sure what is our prescribed duties sometimes. So in that case, you have to seek some senior authority's help. Okay. So, and as we discussed in this context also, a Kshatriya means he should give protection, and Arjuna is asked to do that. And in our case, it could be something else which we need to do. We need to do. Okay. So yeah, so in this context, what we wanted to bring in here and the subsequent slokas, what Arjuna's reason not willing to fight, enjoyment, Krishna has addressed, compassion, Krishna has addressed, and saintliness and fear of sinful reaction, he is also going to address in the next 33 verse and 35 to 36. He is going to address the rest of the things. We will see it in the tomorrow's class. Anybody has any questions? I know I have not really systematically driven things today, but again, unless until we have the foundation strong, we cannot build our whatever we are trying to build. So I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, we will take it up. Yeah, Matajis, Prabhujis. And one request is that each one of you, please put your video switched on. So I know some of you wanted to do multitasking, because these days it's a habit of doing multitasking, but be focused for 1 hour. Please participate. So that will really help. And one good thing is that Matajis are very active. I really thank all Matajis, but I request other Prabhujis also to really participate in that spirit and ask questions and be active, enthusiastic. Yes, any questions anybody has?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Seturam Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, there was one pending question which I actually put on a chat for you.
Yeah.
It was with regard to the soul, actually.
Please go ahead, Prabhu. Ask the question.
Yeah. We actually went through it saying that soul is very active, actually, right? By characteristic.
Right.
So if a patient is in a coma or probably bedridden for some time, and that person is not even aware what is happening around, so do you still say that the soul is there in the body?
Yeah. So we will discuss in greater detail tomorrow, but I will just give you a brief about this. See, basically, as per Ayurveda also, Ayurveda, it's coming from Vedas only. So there are 5 life forces that are there in our body. And when all the 5 life forces leave this body, then along with that, the soul also leaves. Till that time, these 5 life forces are there. So how does the doctor really determine whether this person is live or not? They check their nose, whether he is breathing or not, in one way. But actually by Nadi also one can tell, I do some Nadi Pariksha. So you can also tell when this person is going to die. And there are experts. I am not an expert in that level, but just seeing the Nadi, they will exactly tell that this person is going to die in next 1 month. So because it's all based on Shastra, and they can tell you based on the life forces that they are acting and how they are working, you can tell that. Okay, so the question is that for a coma patient, is the soul there or not? See, the coma patient is not able to use all their 5 life forces, but some life forces are still working. To hear also, you need to have some life forces. And to make your organs work also, there are some life forces that are there. Their body, they may not be able to respond to you when you speak, and they may not be able to respond to you in a way when you ask, but they are also living. That means they can digest the food also. Coma patient, they also are digesting the food. That means some activity is going on. Any activity, if it is there, that means to say soul is there.
Okay, Prabhu.
If any activity, if suppose I am a coma patient, but still some you see, most of us know the coma patients are also fed food.
Yes,
you know that,
yes.
Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
So if food is giving, see, to digest the food also, there is some
activity, yes.
to be there. So if soul is not there, that activity is not there. That means
Yes.
the patient is dead. The soul has left the body. So we'll discuss more, Prabhu, if I am more enthusiastic to go into the details, because we can talk about Ayurveda a little bit, the 5 life forces, and which life force when it leaves, what happens to the body. We can discuss that. That's a very beautiful subject. So probably I'll touch upon it tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Thank you very
wonderful.
much.
Thank you. Any other Sandhya Manoj Mataji?
Prabhuji, actually, you said that women are meant to do a certain kind of work, right? I mean, household and all that. Suppose a woman loses a husband and she doesn't have a brother, and she doesn't have any male members in the house to help her. So then, she has to go out and work, right, to bring up her children and take care of her family. So it becomes a must, right? I mean, I'm confused about that. What will she do at that,
Yes, yes.
in such a situation?
Now, Mataji, I'll tell you what. Now, as per Shastra, I'll tell, and I'll give you some examples from Mahabharata also. First of all, as per Shastra, I'll tell you the ideal case, what in Shastra it is mentioned. Chanakya Pandit says that a woman should always be in the protection when she is as a young girl, before getting married, she should be in the protection of her father.
Parents.
Correct. Yes, yes.
Father, she says father, not parents. Please mark that.
Okay.
Father. And again, when she get married, she should be under the protection of the husband.
Yes.
When husband is not there, under the protection of the their children. meaning if there is no boy, we cannot do anything, but under the protection of her son or whatever. So this is the kind of a fabric that is there, as per our Shastra, which Chanakya Pandit has always been saying, and this is Shastra only.
Correct.
So now if you see Kunti Maharani, Kunti, she lost her husband at a very early age.
Right.
She was under the shelter of their children. How can you say that? See, when the Aranyavas, when they wanted to go, she also went to the forest along with the children, because she need to be under their children, because that is the Shastra. Now you may ask, Aranyavas is only for the Pandavas, and why should Draupadi also go? Draupadi also went because she should be under the protection of the husband. This is as per the Shastra. Now, again, we cannot be, moronic sometimes. Based on the Shastra only, we need to see time, place, circumstances, things have to change.
Correct.
Now, Srila Prabhupada, when he was there, lot of people have objected, Srila Prabhupada, why are you getting these Western women and making them sit on the dais? So, and see, he never discriminated based on gender.
Yes.
But are we at that platform? You need to ask. And in our, if you see in our Gaudiya Parampara also, Nityananda Prabhu, you know, Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balram. His wife, Janvi Mataji, she became a very big preacher. And she was, now point what we are saying is that these are the general principles for the general situations, general circumstances for general masses. Exceptions are there, and we need to take care of that. These are general things. We should not become, sometimes we kind of become fanatic. So don't become fanatic. You have to work, you need to work. The situation demands you have to work. So that's what it is. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Prabhuji, Parthiban here. I have one question.
Please.
Prabhuji, actually, this is related to that Varnashram Dharma which we were discussing. So this is a question which I have, like, see, as per Varnashram Dharma, if a person is belonging to these 4 categories, in this current age, right, it's not like we will be doing suppose if I am an Vaishya, I won't be doing the duties prescribed in Vaishya. I will be doing some other works. Whether that is a correct way, without doing the Vaishya duties, if we are doing the normal, say, suppose if I'm an IT employee, I'm doing the IT job and I'm earning money, and as a grahastha, I'm saving my family. So that is not a sin, right? Like if you are not doing any prescribed duties for Vaishya Dharma.
Okay.
I mean, Vaishya, no, sir. Yeah, Guru. Yeah, Prabhu.
Clarify, Prabhu, you can ask me like a counter question if it is not getting clarified. See, first of all, in Kali Yuga, there are no, varnas in one way. Why? Because most of us are, we would say that all of us are in Shuddha category. So that because we are in Kali Yuga, we are in Shuddha category. There is no Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. Most of us are in Shudra category. Now, said that, but usually what happens is that we have guna. So these gunas also, make us take up one of the things. Like suppose your Rajoguna is there. Rajoguna is one of the things that is required to become or to act like a Kshatriya. So that modes of nature also influence you in one way. Now, if you pick up, if you know what is your predominant mode, then you can go and do that kind of an activities because you will be comfortable. Now, suppose I am a Sattvic Guna person. My dominating Guna is Sattvic. Now, if you ask me to go and become a soldier, and I do that duty, I cannot do justification, because the modes of nature which is predominating you will also help you to take up that. Understood, Prabhu? So now when you come to the Vaishya category, you are in mixed mode. You are neither the Kshatriya nor Shudra. You are in between. You got it? So you need to pick up what works for you based on your guna also. And there are people who can find out what is your psychophysical nature and tell you what job suits you better. Right? Now, suppose I'll tell you an example. I wanted to basically wanted to find out whether I can do work as a technical manager. And I asked myself, working in IT company, am I qualified to become a manager or a technical manager? Or I should be more focused on becoming an individual contributor. Now, I asked myself, see, my way of working is that I prefer to have a breadth knowledge than a depth knowledge. So when I am interested and predominantly my way of analyzing things is breadth, then it is better for me to become a technical manager. Because as a manager, you should be aware of, you need to have breadth knowledge than the depth knowledge. So this is the kind of analysis when you do, then you can find out what kind of a job, in that job, what role will be suiting you, etc., that can go in. So it need to be analyzed. Did I answer your question, Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Yeah, I got a clarity. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. We can discuss more, but yeah, I think we are good. Okay, so if no other question, then we can end today. No other questions, Prabhuji's Mataji's? Yeah, it's nearing 8. That's all. Okay. Any Mataji or Prabhuji would like to volunteer to do Kirtan? Those who have not been active, please do participate. See, the point is that spiritual duty is anything the way you can connect to Krishna is a spiritual duty or a spiritual activity. Now, when I'm doing Kirtan, whether you are able to, your voice is good, bad, doesn't matter. So just do it. Then Krishna will bestow you to give whatever. I was not at all able to sing at all, not able to speak, not able to pronounce slokas properly, now also. But still, Krishna will bestow you and give you. So come forward. That is what, see, we are like one family. So don't hesitate to do activities. Whether it is Kirtan, pronouncing reciting slokas, asking doubts, anything for that matter, be enthusiastically ask. And I am telling you, in no time, you will be able to give classes. So the great inspiration for me is from Yashoda Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So you want to do Kirtan, Mataji? I didn't know. Okay. So is it a sign that I should keep my talking and then so go ahead. So anybody would like to do Kirtan today?
I will do, Prabhuji.
Okay. Go ahead, Mataji.
After you start, I will continue, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay. Megha Shukla Mataji, you can do. After that, Tusha Mataji will follow you. I just wanted to each one of you to take up the
Okay,
honor.
Prabhuji.
Or any other Mataji. Just start.
Actually, Prabhuji, I asked one question in the chat. Is it good time or should we take it tomorrow?
Oh, you asked a question. I didn't see the chat actually. I was immersed. Okay. Can you repeat the question, Mataji? I know it's nearing 8.
Yeah, so,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I fall into the category which you were mentioning that of multitasking. So I was just curious that is it okay to do household chores like cooking or something and listening to a class?
Okay. So there is a there were some few Western psychologists who said that women are good at multitasking, and men are more single task oriented people. But again, never in our Shastra there is a kind of discrimination that has been given like that per se. The point what we can drive here is that everybody should strive for doing one thing at a time, because if you wanted to be peaceful and give your full attention, you do one thing at a time. Don't do multitasking. So that's my take on this. May not be aligned with the modern psychologists who are saying that. Yes. Yeah, Mataji, that's a short answer.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
And one more thing which I heard from someone, that there was a coma patient.
Yeah, somebody.
Like,
go ahead.
Yeah, so there was a coma patient who saw that he went to a different planet and he saw a very big bird and a beautiful lady driving that bird, and he was on it. And then he came back, and later he found out that lady was one of the ancestors' aunt or something, which he never saw her before in life ever. So that means the soul came out and then went out of the body when he was in coma. Is it?
Okay, so Mataji, last class you might be there. You are there, right? Last week class. Yeah.
Last week Saturday I was there. Sunday, unfortunately, I had to sign off.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so last Sunday we discussed about soul transmigration and near-death experience. We have seen live videos that were recorded. And there were some books that have been written by so many people on this matter. So the soul can move from in our Shastras also it is mentioned that and some siddhis can come, parakaya kastam they call it in Telugu, and you can go to somebody else's body. And these are all possible, and you need to have certain what do you say, siddhis and techniques to do that. But again, there are no people to teach us. Neither we are qualified to get all this. If we get qualified, also we'll just become mad, because we cannot handle that kind of a power that it comes to us. So it's better that we take care of doing our Yuga Dharma, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So yes, these are all possible, Mataji, and it has been proven that soul can transmigrate and it can go and come, all those things. Yes. Yeah. And we discussed last time about the existence of these bhutas and pretas also. And we mentioned about all ghosts and all this. So don't get frightened. Nothing will really bother a devotee. So we have seen in the past that so a lot of people tried Bhaktivinoda Thakur also to do a lot of things to him. Nothing happened. And Srila Prabhupada once what happened is that he wanted a place where peacefully he'll sit and do his translation work, because we know that at his home his wife was not cooperating, and there was a translation work he has completed, Bhagavad Gita, the entire translation that you see, Bhagavad Gita as it is, and he has put all that, and his wife just sold it for some to buy tea to a Radiwala. So see, situations are like that. And he went and asked his father. Srila Prabhupada went and asked his father, this is the situation I am in. My wife is not cooperating with me. At least this kind of activities are happening. What should I do? His father said, you are very fortunate. He said, you are very fortunate. See, if you are getting attacked, see, Krishna has made an environment for you to come out of it. If suppose you are so attached to your wife and environment is such so nice, then you wouldn't have taken it to Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, and your extended family is no more there, and we could have not enjoyed what we are enjoying now. So each and every person has got a nice environment to come out and take up to your Sanatan Dharma. Don't give excuses. So that is what his father has told Srila Prabhupada. It's a fortunate situation you are in. He wanted to marry again. He said, this is a fortunate situation. What you need to do, you know. You better do. So, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. We will do Kirtan for a few minutes and then end. Anybody, all of you can join, or if any of you wanted to join, just join. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrand ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Matajis and Prabhujis, for your patience and for nicely contributing and asking so many wonderful questions. We will continue our journey, understanding Bhagavad Gita tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. You can also join the Japa session tomorrow morning if you want. We are taking sessions on Japa. So morning from 5 to 7, but the class is around 6:45. We'll start for 15-20 minutes only. We are discussing. So Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam to all.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanyavad Pranam Prabhu.